Hello, my name is Wim Groten. I'm working at the Karolinska Institute, and this is a short video on AMSTAR 2. AMSTAR 2 is a risk of bias tool to see the quality in systematic reviews, and not only systematic reviews in general, but the systematic reviews that has been studying randomized controlled trials or intervention trials. And it is the most of the evidence we gather is based on this kind of reviews. So I will show you how I work with this tool, and for this I take an example of a study. I haven't read the study yet, but I will show you the way I'm working with this AMSTAR 2. Just a short introduction on the AMSTAR 2. I take away my face, and I hope you can now see the paper on AMSTAR 2, AMSTAR. It's a critical appraisal tool for systematic reviews that include randomized or non-randomized studies of healthcare interventions. And as in the introduction is stated, it is the second version, because there was an AMSTAR 1 published in 2007 already, and it is has been used very much. But they found out that there were some concerns, so they have to change it a bit, and they have to simplify the response categories, and they have to also include the meta-analysis. So they end up with a specific tool, and in this paper you can see all the items and the explanation for the items, and I will go through those items. I think it's a little bit easier if I work not with this paper, but I will work with a PowerPoint I just made. It contains of 16 items, and you have to answer yes, no, or partial yes. And there are two other documents associated with this. The only one is, for example, if you see here, there's an AMSTAR 2 guidance document that I will maybe work through this one, in which all the items are one more step explained. So those who wants to really go into the details, I think you have to check those two parts. So in my this small PowerPoint, there are 16 items, and the first 4 I put together. The first one is about you have to judge if the research questions and inclusion criteria are including the components of PICO. So that's the first one. So we check over here. So this is also one of the documents available from the website, where you have to see if you have the yes, the population should be there, the intervention should be there, the comparator group should be there, and the outcome should be there, and if possible, the time frame for follow-up. Okay, let's try to find this. And I just took one paper we have using in a course, and we use this paper, but I haven't read it like this. It's about the effects of physical exercise intervention in frail older adults. So here I see the population. A systematic review of randomized controlled trials. So this is a paper that should fit into the AMSTAR 2. Just work through the paper, what's in it. It's the purpose of the systematic review is to examine the exercise interventions to manage frailty of older people. So it's about the evidence of these interventions. And what did they do? They checked some databases, and then they made a narrative synthesis approach. So not a meta-analysis, they just checked the data. And the quality of the included studies, they were checked with a scale. It's called Pedro scale. the methodology quality. Okay, and then the results show that they started with 507 papers, but only 9 were included in this study. And then they described the ones. It's 6 multi-component intervention. All 9 have a control group, yes, because it was randomized controlled trials. 6 trials did something about mobility. 3 trials something about balance. 1 could show the effects of balance. 4 did something about functional ability. I don't know what that is, but we can maybe find it out. 7 did something on muscle strength, and 5 showed increased, so that was a good result. 3 trials something about body composition. I think that has to do with BMI, and 2 of them showed something improvements. And then is the Freed's criteria. I think that is how to classify frailty, and frailty is also a very important part of this one. We haven't defined it yet. So the abstract shows me the whole paper, so I don't need to check, but you can always check. Maybe it's the conclusion also. The systematic review suggested that frail older adults seems to benefit from exercise interventions, but it remains a bit unclear what to do as the optimal program. More studies are needed. Yeah, that's the most common conclusion of every study, but there's no level of evidence. They don't present the level of evidence like we have lots of evidence, or we have weak or moderate evidence or something like that. But they don't say this seems to benefit, so they are quite they take it easy with their conclusions, and that's always good. But there are only 9 papers, and they didn't do any special analysis of this. Let's see what's this. The background, of course, and then you end up with the aim of the study. The aim should be on the end. Let's see. There's evidence, blah blah blah. Let's try to find the aim of the study. Considering the major goal of the systematic review of randomized was to investigate the benefits of exercise programs in frail elderly people, considering only those studies where frailty has been defined. Okay, so they have take it to work. So let's go to the first item. Did the research question and inclusion criteria? Okay, we have to check the inclusion criteria as well. Include the components of PICO, and PICO is population, intervention, comparison group, and outcome. Okay, let's see. So in the aim, it is the benefit of exercise, that's the I, intervention. In frail elderly people, that's the population. Considering only those studies where it has been, no, there's nothing about the control group and nothing about the outcome yet. Maybe you should take, but we should also check the inclusion criteria. And here we have the inclusion criteria, very nicely set. Subjects, very nicely defined. They want to have the RCTs and the control group receiving no treatment. Yes, we have something about the control group. The C is also here then. And then outcomes, yeah, here are the outcomes. The effects of the intervention of the domains of frailty and of physical activity and of physical capacity. And of course, only the language there. So I think, yes, looking to the criteria, the first criteria, I think all the parts are here. The comparator group shouldn't have done anything. The intervention was all kind of exercise. Outcomes was 3-4 things, and the population was very nice. So what to do is you make a table, and you write the author's name. I don't know the author's name, who has written this paper. Let's see. The paper written by the Labra. Okay, and you write the Labra there, and then I put a yes on the first item. Did the research question include the component PICO? Yes. So this is the first one. The second one then, let's go to my PowerPoint. The second one was, did the report of the review contain an explicit statement that the review methods were established prior to the conduct of the review, and did the report justify any significant deviations? So you need to have a protocol, and that is very important, that you before you publish your study, you have to say somewhere what you want to do. If you don't do that, it might be the cherry picking, we call it. The cherry picking is about the that you choose your outcomes because they get some nice results, and you leave the outcomes without any nice results. So you need to have a protocol. Okay, let's try to find a protocol. So let's go to the paper one more time, and they should write something about protocol. So maybe you can search with Ctrl F and find something with protocol. Okay, here, protocol. Exclusion and studies based on the description of a protocol. Oh no, that's not here. And there's only one hit, so they haven't said anything about protocol. I think sometimes on the end of the paper, there is always said additional files, and here it's called additional file Prisma checklist, and it's not a protocol. But if I push on this one, I will see the checklist, and I have already downloaded it before I started. And the Prisma checklist is very nice, because here you have the main parts that should be in a systematic review should be written, and then you can find where it is on reported risk of bias, the study selections. So if you send in a systematic review, you always have to have this checklist there, so we know that the systematic reviews are very, very systematic, that you have published all your results. And you see that there's a lot of things you have to report, all kind of stuff you need to do, and everything is okay. But I know that one part of the checklist is the protocol and rigor station. Indicate if a review protocol exists and where we can access. So you need to show the web address. It's called Prospero for the systematic reviews. And you see, it's a dot. It is nowhere. So there is no protocol for this review. And that is not very good, because we need to see, did the report contain an explicit statement that the review was as prior to the conduct? So, no, there's nothing there. Let's go to the number 3. Did the authors explain the selection of the study designs? Okay, they want to have this selection of the study design for randomized controlled trials. Okay, let's try to do that. To see where it is. So it is this one. How does it look in this one? This is the study. I showed you this one. The 3 we are now. Explanation for including only FCTs, explaining for only non-randomized control trials, or explaining both. Okay, then we need to do that. So let's go. And I think we found it in the inclusion criteria. There it was something. Let's scroll up. The inclusion criteria was here. the study design. Original analysis of an RCT citing some type of intervention, blah, 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 receiving no treatments, maintaining. But there's nothing about why they want to have only RCTs. And it should be explained. Why do you have to do it? But it's... Maybe there's something about what to do, but here's a data extraction if you have the data. So it should be in this part. And there's nothing about the explanation why they choose those RCTs. To select RCTs to was performed, no. And of course you can argue, for example, if you look to this AMSTAR 2 guidelines, it's very clear here that you have to explain the selection of the study designs. So you need to have a strategy. So if there was no relevant RCTs, you go for the next ones. But there's nothing. So I will put a no on this one. They have said that it's RCTs, but it's not more than that. It's no explanation. Did the review authors use a comprehensive literature search? Okay, and what does it mean, a comprehensive? Let's go to the number 4. At least 2 databases, the AS, provided keywords and search strategy, justified publication restrictions, for example, language. Okay, but you have to justify it. And if you want a yes, they should also search the reference lists. They should search for the registries, they should experts, they should the grey literature, and they should have done this thing 24 months, within 24 months of the review. Okay, there's lots of things we have to check in this paper, and it should be in the description of the methods. Let's go to this one then. The methods. Okay, extensive. At least two databases. Yeah, we have 4 databases. Okay, and here the search strategy, what we have, and it started in the second phase, 2013. Okay, now wait a minute. That is the search start. But when was the data collection done? Okay, maybe that is started in January 2013. When is this published? This is published 2015. Okay, and it started in 2013 and published in 15. Yeah, that's 2 years. I think I am a little bit. I give them a point for this. That is no problem. Yeah. So June 2015, and then it's published in 15. So yeah, that is okay. So they started there, and then they have, when they made everything ready, they looked one more time to see if there was something new. So they have done a new search and the manual things. And then did they explain why? That's not explained, but they say that we have like this. But we need to say also about this grey literature. That let's look one more time to this one. Search the reference list, search the consulted experts, search the grey literature. I cannot find that. So they've done quite good things, but not everything. But maybe they are discussing this later on in the discussion. You can sometimes find it in the discussion, where they discuss their own methods. So the discussion used to be like the results in the beginning, and about this is all the results, 1 to speak 9 studies, blah blah blah. Where do they start this? Let's see. Oh, here it is. We submitted the logical limitations, blah blah blah. The most common additional limitation were the few studies performed. Okay. Another limitation was the lack of consensus. Field is another, and they don't talk about the grey literature, or they don't talk about anything else. No. So I think if I look to this, I think I give them a partial yes, because they have done quite okay here. 2 databases, they have this one, they have the keywords, and they have this one is okay, but they didn't tell anything about this. And if they don't write it, then you should not say that it was okay. So that was a partial yes on this one. So now I go to items 5 to 8. And here it is about the duplicate. So this is so much work to look through 500 papers and to check if they are okay. And so it's very easy to make mistakes, and to lower the chance of missing things, it's always good to do it in double. So I used to take the 5 and 6 at the same time. The study selection duplicate and the data extraction in duplicate. Oh, let's go. Maybe I can try to find the word duplicate. Yes, let's see. The search were identified and after duplicate removal. No, that was not right. Let's go for the next one. Let's see. Now we have only one. So that doesn't work out. Let's see how they did it. Study selection. No. It's about how they did it. 40 were included, 60 blah blah blah, but they don't write if they did it by them 1 or 2. Based on the action to select those, we described all the data thing was done. We selected, they don't write which part was done which. Let's maybe this one. Data extracting. Here it should be in duplicate. We interpreted blah blah blah. The methodology was responses good, reliable. Yeah, judgment by the 2 independent raters was compared and discussed. It was not very clear, but there has been 2 independent raters. That was the rater of the methodological assessment. The Pedro scale was done in 2 independent raters, but they don't write that they have done the data, the study selection and the data extraction with 2. But this one was done by 2. So it's poor reporting, I think. Let's see how I check those 2 things. Let's go for the items 5 and 6. Did the reviewer perform the study in duplicate? At least 2 reviewers independent accurate, or 2 reviewers selected the sample, and it's the same thing over here, and achieve good treatment. So sometimes if you do a part by together, and then if you see if you good consensus, then they can go on one by one, but I don't think so. I cannot read it, so I have to be like no on this one and a no on that one. That is the study selection and data extraction. Data orders provide a list of excluded studies. I maybe can go or check in this checklist if there are something excluded studies somewhere in this here now. And mostly the excluded studies used to be on the end of the paper. The references here, you can see that that is the ones that were included. But there's no additional file of the excluded ones. So, nope, it is not a good one. So maybe I was thinking this is a good paper, but you see, it's only yes, and there's a part of yes, and the rest is no. Okay. Did the review author describe the included studies in adequate detail? And here it's a difficult word. What is adequate? So I think we have to go to the guidance document, and the document about a complete list of potential endpoints, and this one, yeah. Adequate. This subjects the interventions, the controls, the outcomes, the design, the analysis, and the setting of the study. Okay, so in this, the guidance, it shows it has to be lots of things should be provided. Let's go. If we have information. And look at this, we have lots of information here. We have about, let's go. This is it's calling characters of the included study. We have the country, we have what kind of people it is, about the criteria, how frailty they are, what is the training, what is the, should be also the control group, but I don't know. Oh, wait a minute, we have to go and look to the headings. Oh, this is still not the headings. So every paper has been described very nicely. If you see here, you see interventions here, intervention, outcome measures, and the findings. Yeah, but there's no information on the control group, but the control group shouldn't do anything. So I think I give them okay for this one. Let's check one more time what they want to have. Wait a minute, where is it? Populations, interventions, comparators, outcomes, research designs. And we have the details on the intervention, comparator, including doses where relevant. So the setting, time frame. Yeah, I think it's not really time frame, maybe. Yeah, HC is a time frame. Yep, I think they did a good job. They get a yes for me on this one. Congratulations. This one. Did the review authors use a satisfactory technique for assessing the risk of bias? Oh, I have seen it already. They use this Pedro scale, and they have a table on that Pedro scale. Here it is. So the Pedro scale is about the different problems that could occur when you do a randomized controlled trial. Yeah, if the randomized allocation, concealed, group similar baseline, blinded, and of course it's very difficult to make people blind doing exercises. So you have no zeros on that one, and then you see the intention to treat analysis. Yeah, that's nice. So the quality is on a 1 to 11 point or 10 point. It is the mean 7. So the included studies were quite okay, but of course those two you haven't. But this is a very nice scale, the Pedro scale. So yes, congratulations, you get one more step. Okay, number 10. Did the review authors report on the sources of funding? Okay, that is important because we need to see that, and I think it is. I saw over this one in this part. The funding is described on page 20. Okay, let's go to page 20 then. In the paper. And I think it's on the end. Page 16. Alright, it's in the it is page 20 on the manuscript they sent to the journal. It's not the final. But of course, here it is. The funding authors received no financial support for the research or publication. But wait a minute, is this about the funding for this paper or about the funding of the included papers? Let's read one more step. Data review audits, no, 9, 10, we are here, 10. Report of for the studies included. Oh, we need to check the reviews, the funding for the studies, not the funding for doing the review. Okay. Must have reported on the source of funding for individual studies included in reviews. Reporting the reviews looked for this information but was not reported by the also qualifies. Reporting that reviews looked for this information. Okay, so it should be in the here. So let's go for the Control F and say nothing about funding. No, then it's only the own thing. And it should, if it is included, it should be in this characteristics, and I couldn't find it. So no, they haven't checked for the funding. And I think this could be very interesting, but that is mostly in medicine companies or other companies involved in physical therapy. They should use it. Doesn't as so often that companies are involved and funding special types of interventions. If meta-analysis performed, no, we don't have any meta-analysis. So that goes very fast. 12, assess the potential, no, we didn't have any. And then 13, did the review authors account for the rates in primary studies? Okay. So we have seen that there were the studies were quite okay. But did they discuss this? Okay, let's go to the paper one more time and then go to the discussion. If they talk about the, or maybe in the results, you see, I just see if they talk about something about risk of bias on the quality. 2 of the thing, blah blah blah, negative contraction in this review, blah blah blah. No, not over here. Because of this heterogeneity, difficult to sort draw a conclusion. The verity considerably this. So here you have to check through the whole part. Do they discuss because of the findings should be cautious because the power showed very small effects, the absence of change, carefully adapt. Do they talk about this over here? There was concerned degree of frailty. Another limitation. No. The number and the few. Oh, they don't talk about risk of bias. Let's check one more time the word bias. No, there's nothing about quality. We have 18 hits. Quality of life. Let's go back. Quality of life. Discussion here. However, all of the trials were considered to have sufficient methodological quality to be included. Okay, so here they talk about this. Let's see what we have to look for. We are on item number over here. Included in the review, nothing about this funding here. Wait a minute, we should 10 did we? 11 was not done. 12 if meta was alive. No, did the result count for? Yeah, this one. Even if not concluded, should include the discussion of the impact. This is important. The discussion of the impact. Yeah, but they told that it was sufficient quality. This one, sufficient methodology to be included. Okay, yeah, they have discussed this. Congratulations, you get a point. That is on item number 13. So now we there, 3 more to go. And let's go to this one. Maybe that's good. 13, 11, and 12. We have done this. 13. Did the authors provide an explanation, discussion of the heterogeneity observed? There was no, or the investigation of the heterogeneity. Yeah, but I remember when I looked for this quality, I saw that they have also a large variation. They talked about it only here. There was various different criteria and things like this, and so they say you have to be careful because it's quite difficult with this. Different outcomes, different measures, few studies, lacks of consensus. Yeah, I think they have discussed this. Let's check to the guidance document and see what we have to discuss. Review authors should explore this possibility, discuss the impact of it on the results, conclusions, and the recommendations. Yeah, yeah, of course, it's the risk of bias they have discussed in this, using the Pedro. Yeah, I think I will give them a point for this because I see somewhere, and you see this is just yeah. On the end of doing this, you get maybe you have to do it one more time, and it's always good to do this with 2 persons, and then you check with each other and to say, did you said yes, or maybe partial yes, or things like that. Let's see if there's a partial yes on this one. No, there's only yes and no on this one. So I think they have talked about that there was very much variation between those 9 studies included. So then 15, if they performed quantitative exercises, but they didn't do, so nothing. And over here, then 16, that is for conducting the review, the sources of interest. Yeah, so there's nothing in 15, and we have find something for they wrote that they didn't have any fundings. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yes, and then I said 1 partial yes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Should be 16 together. Yeah. Okay. 8 no, numbers of no's. And then you can check on the end what is the quality of this, and then you go to the main part. They say like this, that we stress that the responses should not be used in overall score. As I showed you here in the Pedro, the Pedro is working with this overall score. You see that you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. The first one doesn't count, but you have 6 points. So you made a total score for that. But in AMSTAR, they don't want you to make like this is 7 points or 7.5 points if you give them half a point for the partial yes. It is just to see how much is yes, how much is no, and this is no meta-analysis, so there was already 3 or 4 of those items that they couldn't have any points. So the AMSTAR really highlights that you should not do an overall score, but you should do like this. If you have confidence in the results of the review, and the result shows that, we go back to the results, to the conclusions, I think on the end, this systematic review so that could improve several aspects of physical function. So that they are very good, and maybe there is some evidence, but not that much. So they're quite cautious about the choice. So that is so are we confident in that they have drawn the right conclusions? Have we have a high confidence, or do you have a moderate confidence, or have we low confidence in this one? And this one, the systematic review is an accurate and comprehensive summary of the results of the available studies that extract. Or do you think it's the moderate, more than one non-critical weakness, but no critical flaws, provides an accurate summary of the results? Or is it one really critical flaw that has been done and they haven't been good? I think one part is about the data extraction and the study selection, that they didn't do it with 2 persons. I think that is one critical flaw. But is it very bad or not too bad? I think, look into this, 7 yes, 3 or 4 couldn't be, so they could have been a little bit better in reporting. They didn't publish the list of excluded studies, but they have a quite nice, we haven't looked to that, but the flow chart here, they have shown why those were excluded and things like that over here, and they end up with 9. But it should be like, we should have, for example, here on this part, those 73 papers should be included in the list, so we could check one more time if they have done a good job over here, or did they just take them out. But is it a critical flaw, or is it just a flaw? I won't go for the high confidence, but I think I will end up with a moderate quality, because the conclusions are very modest and not that bad. So sometimes you, on the end here, you can add one more column and you write, or you put it over here, moderate quality, and so you can go on with more papers like this. So I hope, let's go for this one then. Let's see if you see me. No, I don't know. This one then. I hope you have found this video interesting. It was a little bit longer than I thought, 43 minutes, but that's maybe the time you need to check if you're doing this kind of quality assessment of papers. Please let me know if I have missed something, or if you want to have any questions, just use my email, wim.groten@ki.sa, och Wim spell W-I-M, och Groten G-R-O-O-T-E-N. Thank you.